So, I'm going to talk a little bit about some tips for having conversations about mental health. Obviously, when you're having a conversation, there's two sides to it. There's the talking and there's the listening. We're going to start off on the listening side. So, if someone opens up about their mental health to you, we might not always know or always feel easy about knowing what to say. But it doesn't have to be an awkward thing to talk about mental health. Just being there for someone can make all the difference. So, if someone does confide in you, there are a number of things you could do. These are five top tips, but there's plenty more on the Time to Talk Day website, which you can see the address for at the bottom. But firstly, ask questions and listen. So, asking questions can give the person space to express how they're feeling and what they're going through. Try to ask questions that are open and non judgmental and not leading. So, things like, what does that feel like? Big open questions. Secondly, you can use positive body language and encourage them to share with you. So, small verbal comments like I see or what happened next will let them know that you're paying attention to them and you're actively engaged and listening to them. Thirdly, don't try and fix the problems that they're sharing with you. It can be a huge urge to try and problem solve for people, but try to resist that urge to offer quick fixes. Instead, just letting them talk and talking with them can be really powerful. So unless they've asked you for advice directly, it's best just to listen. Our fourth tip is to try and dispel any myths and avoid cliches around mental health. So, mental health problems, as I'm sure we all know, are more common than a lot of people think and can affect anyone at any time. So, comments like pull yourself together or you're just having a bad day aren't that helpful in the grand scheme of things and can sort of minimize people's feelings. So, try and avoid those if you can. Then our fifth tip is just to be patient. So, no matter how hard you try, some people might not be ready to talk about what they're going through with you. And that's okay. The fact that you've tried to talk to them about it may make it easier for them to open up another time. You're just kind of letting them know that you're there so that when they're ready, they can come back to you. I'll be back a little bit later with some advice on how you can share how you're feeling as well. Thanks. Great. So before we talked about how to support someone sharing their feelings with you, but what if you're the one who wants to open up and share? And I know it can be really hard to open up and share really how you're feeling, but whenever you do feel ready, these tips might help you start those conversations. So again, we've got five tips. They are just a starting point, and you can find more information at our website. But the first of these tips is to find a way that feels right for you. So having a conversation can take lots of different forms. It could be a face-to-face conversation, or you might find it easier to talk to someone on the phone, or even write down how you feel. I personally find it easier to text people. That's just what works for me. Secondly, you want to find a suitable time and place. So sometimes it's easier to talk side by side rather than face to face. You might want to chat while you're doing something else like walking or cooking. Obviously, lots of people have shared the places where they're comfortable, and those could be great opportunities to have a conversation. But don't let that search for the perfect place put you off having that chat in the first place. Thirdly, you might want to practice what you want to say. So you could do this in your head or you could make some notes. There's some useful phrases you can use. Things like, I've not been feeling like myself lately, might provide you with a really helpful starting point. Fourth, I think one of the biggest things is just being honest and open. It can sometimes feel really uncomfortable sharing something so personal, but explaining how your feelings are affecting you and your life really may help others to understand. And then, as our fifth tip, you can always suggest to the person you're sharing with things that they could do to help you. So that might just be listening and offering emotional support, or there may be practical help that you need. And you can always ask and suggest that they help you with that. These are all just a starting point and are not exhaustive, but talking is always a crucial first step in your mental health journey. So hopefully, these will help you start some of those conversations. So, for this third interval, I'm going to share some guidance about how you can support your mental well-being more generally. So, not just through conversations, but mental well-being can mean a few different things. We might use it to talk about how we feel, how well we're coping with our daily lives, or what feels possible for us at the moment. What good mental well-being doesn't mean is that you're always happy or that you're unaffected by your experiences, but there's lots of things we can try and do to take care of our well-being, and I'm sure you probably know a few of these already. But the first of them is to try to relax and to reduce stress where we can. So try to think about what might help you to relax. If there's something that does help you, try to find a way to carve time out in your day to take part in that. So that could be something as simple as having a relaxing bath or going for a walk or listening to music. It's just important to make time for those kind of things. Secondly, you could find ways to learn and be creative. And in fact, I think someone in the chat already suggested that learning really helps with their well-being. But this could take loads of different forms. You could join a class or a group, for instance. So learning a new skill in a group can be really enjoyable and help boost your confidence. So you could try asking at your local library or community center. You could even take an online course instead. And it's also a great opportunity to connect with other people. You may instead find it helpful to do something creative. So that could be anything from drawing to taking photos or baking. All these things can help you distract you from difficult thoughts and feelings, or it might help you to understand yourself better, or even give you a way to express those feelings in a safe way. So being creative can be really calming and it can be rewarding as well. A third suggestion is to spend time in nature. I noted that a lot of people mentioned that they like to go for walks as their sort of comfort places, and spending time in nature can really help improve your mood. It can reduce feelings of stress and anger, and it could take a few different forms again. It doesn't have to be just going out into green spaces. You could bring nature indoors and get some of those benefits of nature without having to go outdoors. So, for instance, buying flowers or potted plants and surrounding yourself with them, or listening to the bird song from your window, all different ways to bring nature closer to you. Some people also find that being with animals can be really calming and enjoyable. So if that's you, and if you don't have a pet, you could try pet sitting or dog walking, or even visiting a local community farm. Our fourth tip is to connect with others, which of course talking is what talking is all about. But in general, connecting with others can really help us have a much greater sense of belonging and help reduce feelings of loneliness. So we've talked loads about the benefit of having a conversation and how just being listened to can make a huge difference. But you could also find ways to make a difference yourself. You could do things for others that have a doing things for others can have a really positive impact on your own well-being. So you could support a cause that's really important to you. You could sign petitions, or you could donate to local causes, or you could try doing small acts of kindness for people that you know. You could even consider volunteering somewhere. All of these things will help bring you closer to other people and hopefully help improve your own well-being. Finally, one of our top tips is to try and improve your sleep. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think it's always important to remember that physical health and mental health are really connected in lots of different ways. And one huge sort of overlap is around sleep. So, how well we sleep can really impact our well being. And if we're struggling with our mental health, that can really affect our sleep. So, it's almost cyclical. And everyone's sleep patterns are different, and it's important to do whatever works for you. But that could be something like establishing a routine, thinking about reducing your screen time before bed, and overall improving your sleeping environment so you don't have too many bright lights and you have calming sounds and stuff. There's lots of different ways that you can kind of improve your well-being, and you can visit the website that's linked on the slide there. But I think it's also important to remember that good days for your well-being won't always look the same. So we don't always have the same levels of energy or motivation. So ultimately, just be kind to yourself and do what feels right for you at the moment. These are all just a starting point, and you can find much more information and support on Mind's website as well.